Right. Please write this question 2022-23 paper. Because of COVID exam delayed, 2022-23 question. Identify question number 7C. Question number 7C. Please write question. Identify the short story. The short story in your syllabus. In your syllabus that in your view provides the most effective portrayal of failed relationships, comma, and write a short introduction to the story, highlighting this aspect, full stop. Note that you first need to justify your selection through a brief comparison with the other short stories in your syllabus. Right. I said identify the short story in your syllabus that in your view provides the most effective portrayal of failed relationships, comma, and write a short introduction to the story highlighting this aspect. Full stop. Note that you first need to justify your selection through a brief comparison with other stories in your syllabus. Right. Right. Now, one of the best portrayals for failed relationship is Evelyn. Another is also Cat in the Rain. Also, interpreter of melodies. 3 stories we can take as examples. But you asked to write a short introduction to your selection, but you have to give a brief comparison with the other short stories in your syllabus too. Start like this. Among the prescribed short stories in our syllabus, Evelyn by James Joyce can be identified as the most effective portrayal of failed relationships, especially in love affair and marriage. Love affair and marriage. Yes. Evelyn, the 19-year-old, poor girl, represents the entire volatile, volatile young girls in Dublin, Ireland during the post-colonial time period. Full stop. Virtually, the short story Evelyn is a sad love story because love affair at the end fails. Oh, Jintaka, good morning. Saturday එකක් තියෙනවා චින්තක උදේ 8යි 30. ඔව් online. හරි. ඔව්. හරි thank you. ඔව් නිස්රා හොඳට කරනවා. ඔව්. ඔව් හරි. නිස්රාගේ සර් කතා කරේ කතාවට ලහන්නේ හොඳට වැඩ කරනවද වැඩි හොඳයිද කියලා. එයා තාමත් හොයාගෙන හොයනවා. හරි. මට මේ නිස්රා අයුව සර් දැන් කතාවට ලහනවා කොහොමද යාම වැඩ හොඳට කරනවද කියලා. Right. It's a sad love story because love affair at the end fails. Because love affair at the end fails. I said virtually, the short story Evelyn is a sad love story because love affair at the end fails. Love affair at the end fails. Yes. Her failure in implementing her decision to her failure in implementing her decision to elope with Frank is not her individual fault, but a general condition as that is consequenced by the common mental condition moral paralysis as Joyce interprets in writing his collection of short stories under the common title Dubliners, in which there are 15 short stories highlighting different characters living in Dublin who are the necessary victims of this paralysis. I think other students, they know that James Joyce wrote a short story collection of short story under the common title Dubliners, in which there are 15 of them. One is Evelyn, 19-year-old girl. In other stories also, there are others. For example, there's a story called Arabic. There's a schoolboy. He loves front house girl, but he can't tell that. When it is raining, he's peeping through the window and looking at the girl at night, looking at the light of the girl's house and keeping palms together and trembling. Oh, I love, like that. Then early in the morning, when that girl emerged from the house to go to her convent, this man also gathers his books and follows girl. When they reach the point of diverging their ways to both school, convent and boys one, he just overtakes the girl. That's what every day happened. Finally, girl talks to him. He's very confused. He can't answer. He doesn't know what to. He can't imagine what to tell. Right. That is one. Another one called Little Cloud. There's a man called Chandler. Little Chandler and a counterpart. Little Cloud, there's another man. Okay, he is also very shy. The writer shows the moral paralysis. This was resulted by the British ruling Ireland. More than 1,000 years, Irish folk were under British rule. That was what happened. Yes. So last sentence I said, her failure in implementing her decision to elope with rank is not her individual fault, but a general condition, as that is consequenced by the common mental condition, moral paralysis. I think your teachers taught you this, as Joyce interprets in writing his collection of short stories under the common title Dubliners, in which there are 15 short stories highlighting different characters living in Dublin who are the necessary victims of their paralysis. Yes. Yes. Full stop. At the very outset of the story, we could clearly see so many circumstances that overwhelm the protagonist, maiming, M-A-I-M-I-N-G, maiming her mental capacity and strength. I said at the very outset of the story, we could clearly see so many circumstances that overwhelm the protagonist, maiming, maiming her mental capacity and strength. නිස්රා ලියපු ආන්සර්ස් තව ලියනවා තියනවාද ගෙදර ඔයා තනියෙන් ලියපුවා?
ඔව් ගොඩක් තියෙනවා සර්.
ඒ ටික ඔක්කොම මට පෝස්ට් එකේ දාන්න මම මේ ඇඩ්‍රස් එක ඉල්ල ගන්න. මේ තීක්ෂණාල යම්ම නම් ඊයේ පෙරේද පෝස්ට් එක දැම්ම ගොනේ තීක්ෂණා.
ඔව් සර්.
හෙට මට හම්බුවේ මම හෙටම බලලා අපව දාන්න පෝස්ට් එකට. නිස්රා ඉක්මනට එවන්න.
ඔව් සර්.
මොකද ඔන්ලයින් එකේ වුවට මට මේ WhatsApp එකේ එන මෙසේජස් එක යනවා දවස් වෙනවා 100ක් කිසි මොනවද කියලා මෙසේජ්. ක්ලාස් අහලා එවනවා. හරි. ඊට පස්සේ මේ ක්ලාස් ෆීස් ගැන කිව්වහම ආයේ මේක 2.50ට කරන්න බෑනේ නේ. හරි. right. අනිත් එක මේ බෝරින් කියලා අර තාත්තා කෙනෙක් කතා කරලා කිව්වා දුව කිව්වලු සර් බෝරින් කියලා. මට කුණුහරුප කීකියවා කරන්න බෑ මම එහෙම කරන්නෙත් නෑ. සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක විතරයි. හරි. ළමයි ජෝක් කර නේ. අර ෆිසිකල් ක්ලාස් වල නම් එහෙම පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මෙහෙම බෑනේ මේ. ළමයට සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක දෙන්න ඉපෑ. කුණුහරුප හඬ නෙවෙයි ළමයි ක්ලාස් එන්නේ. Her mental capacity and strength. Yes. හරි. මේ අවුරුදු දෙකම කරේ පන්ති මේ දෙන්නට විතරයි මේ ගෲප් එක. නිස්රටයි තීක්ෂණයි අනිත් ළමයි ටික පස්සේ ආවි. ඊයේ පෙරේද ආපු මේ සෙට් එකේ ඉන්නවා. අවුරුදු දෙකක් කරා නේද? ගෲප් එක දෙන්න හිටියත් මම කරනවා. මේ මින්න mental capacity and strength. Yes. She lives by a blind road. She lives by a blind road because we read that man out of the last house returned home in the evening. Right. So I am telling the background for this failure. So sad and negative circumstances. Now she lives by a blind road. It is not mentioned in the story. The story says man out of the last house returned home. That means last house means the road ends. That's a blind road. Yes. Blind road is a negative symbol. Yes. Her name is also EU plus line. EU plus line. You lean. EU plus line. EU mean evening. Single also named Sandhya. Name is said Sandhya. Right. Udya Okay, Udaya is a positive name. Sandhya sad name. Yes, negative symbol. Her name itself cannot, C-O-N-N-O-T-E-S, cannot, sadness and failure because it is U plus line, U plus line, full stop. U means evening, U means evening, which is a sad symbol, sad symbol. Now there are many symbols. She is surrounded by many circumstances, yes. Her house is a brown house, a brown house, yes.
repeat කරන්න.
Her house is a brown house. මෙහෙම ලිව්වම full marks දෙනවා මතක තියාගන්න හරි. Brown house, full stop. Brown is a sad color. Black, brown, yellow are sad colors. Red, blue and pink, they are happy colors. Yes. As we read, she felt the odor, odor, O-D-O-U-R, odor of dusty cretonne. Dusty cretonne. හරි. එක්සෑම් එක කන්ෆිඩන්ට් නැති ළමෙක් අද ඉඳලා ආවත් මාත් එක්කම එක කරපුවාම හරි ගොඩ දාගන්න පුළුවන්. Dusty cretonne. As we are told, නේද? As we are told, she felt the odor of dusty cretonne. Dusty cretonne. C-R-E-T-T-O-N-E, yes. Full stop. Dust symbolizes sadness and negligence. Next she hears, H-E-R-S hears, the crunching, C-R-U-N-C-H-I-N-G, crunching sound of a man walking on the cinder, C-I-N-D-R, cinder path. Full stop. Here, cinder is the burnt, B-U-R-N-T, burnt coal, C-O-L, coal, COL, coal, and that also symbolizes failure. Failure. Yes. Thus, she is surrounded by circumstances of death and decadence too. Death and decadence. DECADENC, decadence too. අපිට පැසේජ් එකක් වෙන් කරන්න බැරි වුණාද? ඒක right. Her mother, elder brother Ernest, and T.C. Dunn are dead. Yes. In the wall of on dekam hari kamanne, in the wall of her house there is a photograph, yellowing photograph. Yes. In the wall of her name, in the wall of her house, there is a yellowing photograph. PHOTOGRAPH, photograph of a priest. දැන් මෙතන sad circumstance දෙකක් තියෙනවා මොකද්ද? One is color yellow, other is priest. Yes. We know that both the color yellow and the presence of priest are sad circumstances. Yes. Right. New para. The problem with Yulin is Yulin cover එක කවුරුහරි තින්නවා නම් අනිද්දා උදේ යූලින් කරනවා මේ 2000 අනේ අනිද්දා නෙමෙයි සැටර්ඩේ මෝර්නිං එකේ තියෙනවා යූලින් අවශ්‍ය කෙනෙක් කියන මම මේ වීඩියෝස් එවන්නම් ඕන කෙනෙකුට පරණ වීඩියෝස් ටික දෙනවා වීඩියෝ 200ක් තියෙනවා ක්ලාස් කරලා 200ට වැඩි තියෙනවා the problem of Yulin ඒවා දැන් වෙලාවක් නැහැ ඔයාලට කොහොම ස්ටඩි කරන්න that she cannot take a correct decision and implement that yes it is in the evening she is looking at the road thinking about her decision whether she will run away with Frank to Buenos Aires දැන් ඒව දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕන මතක තියෙනවා Buenos Aires to be his wife by the night boat or stay at home yes this is her indecisive and hesitant mental condition that Joyce interprets as moral paralysis. Yeah, Prelude when writing that collection of short story, he says in a prelude, my intention is to write a chapter on the moral history of my race, and I choose doubling the center of paralysis. Moral paralysis. Yes. There are reasonable ample reasons for her to leave this unencouraging and stagnating stagnat and stagnating background in Dublin. Dublin. Yes. She is isolated, domesticated, and negligent. Negligent. Yes. She has no kith and kin. KITH and kin. Nada hitamitro. Kith and kin. To share her ups and downs. Share her ups and downs. Her drunken father makes her life tedious. Makes her life tedious. 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 Full stop. Every Saturday, he takes her entire wages. Entire wages. 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 Full stop. Her living brother, Harry, is always down somewhere in the country. ඔය අලුත් අයට ඕන නම් පරණ මේ මගෙන් ඔක්කොම ඉල්ල ගන්න පුළු පුළුවන් විදියට මේ අර මම ඔක්කොම නෝට්ස් දීලා තියෙන්නේ අර ස්පීඩ් දාගෙන හරි පොඩ්ඩක් ලිසන් කරගත්තා නම් මේක හරියනවා හරි මොකද ඔක්කොම මේ ස්ලෝ මෝෂන් කියවන්න ගියොත් එකකට පැයයක් යනවනේ වීඩියෝ 100කට 200කට පැය 400ක් යනවා somewhere in the country in his church decorating business. Miss Gavin at the store makes her tired of working there. Right. The lugubrious memory of her mother's death stimulates her to depart from this environment. Full stop. New para. Evelyn unconsciously runs to the boat station to join Frank in his voyage to Argentina. Yes. It is at the last moment she begins with trembling and feeling nausea, nausea in her body. Yes. She wants to leave, but her paralyzed mental condition does not allow her to proceed with her decision. Right. Proceed with her decision. She remains in the boat station just like a helpless animal lamb. Her love affair ends when the boat launches with Frank. Full stop. Therefore, her failure in her affair is not her own. Individual problem, but what is consequenced by the British rule in Ireland that oppressed Irish folk, IRISH, Irish folk, FOLK folk, more than 1,000 years. Right? New Kara. However, in our syllabus, there are other stories too, which portray the same theme of failed relationship. Yes. In writing the short story විනාඩි 40කට මේක බැලන්ස් කරගන්න ඕන කොහොම හරි. දැන් මම මේ ඔයාලා ඩික්ටේට් කරනවානේ. ටිපෙක් කරන්න එපා කවදාකවත් පේපර් එක කට් ඩවුන් කරනවා එක ලයින් එකකින් කපලා දාන්න. In the short story, cat in the rain Ernest Hemingway produces a young American couple accommodating
සයි සෙන්ටෙන්ස් එකයි රිපීට් කරන්න.
මුලින්ද
Ernest Hemingway.
Ernest Hemingway produces a young American couple accommodating in a hotel in Italy who are also the victims of failed relationships. Yes. George, the young husband, does not want to pay sufficient attention. දැන් මම මෙහෙම කියලා ගියේ විනාඩි පැයක් විතරනේ. ඔය 10:35 වෙනින් පටන් ගන්නකොට පැයක් විතර ගියේ. විනාඩි 40ට ඔබ ලියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන. Jordan does not pay sufficient attention to his young wife. Yes. She becomes quarrelsome. Quarrelsome, quarrelsome. When he continuously ignores her words. Yes. It is definite that the marriage cannot Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes. The same portrayal of failed relationship can be identified in Jhumpa Lahiri's short story Interpret of Melodies. Yes. In this story, there are two marriages that have already failed. Yes. Raj and Meena are not affectionate to each other, and Meena's pregnancy from a third party is a result of the silent and negligent behavior of Raj. Yes. Mr. Kapasi is a victim of a failed marriage with a insensitive and emotional wife who does not know the values and attitudes of marriage. New para. In conclusion, all these three short stories can be identified as portrayals for the failure of relationships, but Yulin is the best work to portray the same portray the same because Evelyn's tragedy has been consequenced by the common fact of moral paralysis in Dublin in Ireland. Dublin in Ireland. හරි. දැන් පැයක් ගියා අපිට කමන්නේ. Teacher, did you write?
Sir.
Please read it from the question.
Identify the short story in your syllabus that in your view provides the most effective portrayal of failed relationships and write a short introduction to the story highlighting that aspect. Note that you first need to justify your selection through a brief comparison with the other short stories in your syllabus. Among the prescribed short stories in our syllabus, Eveline by James Joyce can be identified as the most effective portrayal of the failed relationship, especially in love, affair, and marriage. Evelyn is the 19-year-old poor girl represents the entire volatile young girls in Dublin, Ireland during the post-colonial time period. Finally, Evelyn is a sad love story because love affair at the end fails. Her failure in implementing her decision to Frank is not her individual fault but a general condition as that is consequenced by the common mental condition moral paralysis as Joyce interprets in writing his collection of short stories under the common title Dubliners, in which there are 15 short stories highlighting different characters living in Dublin who are the necessary victims of this paralysis. At the very outset of the story, we could clearly see so many circumstances that overwhelmed the protagonist, maiming her mental capacity and strength. She lives by a blind road because we read that man out of the last house written home in the evening. Blind road is a negative symbol. Her name itself connotes sadness and failure because it is Eve plus line. Eve means evening, which is a sad symbol. Her house is a brown house. Brown is a sad color. As we read, she felt the odor of dust creton. Dust symbolizes sadness and negligence. Next, she hears the crunching sound of a man walking on the cinder path. Here, cinder is burnt of coal and that also symbolizes failure. Thus, she is surrounded by circumstances of death and decadence. Too, her mother, elder brother Ernest, and Tissy Dunn are dead. In the wall her house there is a yellowing photograph of a priest. We know that the color yellow and the presence of a priest are sad circumstances. The problem with Evelyn is that she cannot take the correct decision and implement that. It is the evening she is looking at the road thinking about her decision whether she will run away with Frank to beyond Ayers, to be his wife by the night boat or stay at home. This is the indecisive and hesitant mental condition that Joyce interprets as moral paralysis. There are ample reasons for her to leave this unencouraging and stagnating background in Dublin. She is isolated, domesticated, and negligent. She has no kith and kin to share her ups and downs. Her drunken father makes her life tedious every Saturday. He takes her entire wages. Her living brother Harry is always down somewhere in the country in his church decorating business. Miss Gwan at the store makes her tired of working there. The lugubrious memory of Her mother's death stimulates her to depart from this environment. Evelyn unconsciously runs to the boat station to join Frank in his voyage to Argentina. It is at the last moment, trembling and feeling a noise in her body. She wants to leave, but her paralyzed mental condition does not allow her to proceed with her decision. She remains in the boat station just like a helpless animal, and her love affair ends when the boat launches with Frank. Therefore, her failure in her affair is not her own individual problem, but what is consequenced by the British rule in Ireland that oppressed Irish folk more than 1,000 years. However, in our syllabus, there are other stories to which portray the same theme of failed relationship. In writing the short story Cat in the Rain by Ernest Hemingway produces a young American couple accommodating in a hotel in Italy who are also victims of failed relationships. George, the young husband, does not want to pay sufficient attention to his young wife. She becomes quarrelsome when he continuously ignores her words. It is definite that the marriage cannot go ahead. The same portrayal of failed relationship can be identified in Jhumpa Lahiri's short story Interpreter of Maladies. In this story, there are two marriages that have already failed. Raj and Meena are not affectionate to each other, and Meena's pregnancy from a third party is a result of the silent and negligent behavior of Raj. Mr. Kapasi is a victim of a failed marriage with a insensitive and emotional wife
Insensitive, insensitive.
who does not know the values and attitudes of marriage. In conclusion, all these three short stories can be identified as portrayals for the failure of relationships, but Evelyn is the best work to portray the same because Evelyn's tragedy has been consequenced by the common fact of moral paralysis in Dublin in Ireland.
Right, okay. Now we wrote one answer. Today at 7:15 also I will take extra class. 7:15 to 8:30 to write another question, okay? පුළුවන් අය එන්න අනිත් පැයට වීඩියෝ එක දෙන්නම්. රෑ 7යි කාලේ ඉඳලා 8:00 වෙනකම්. තව question එකක් ලියමු. පුළුවන් තරම් මම උදව් කරන්නම් ළමයින්ට. පුළු බලන්න වීඩියෝ එක හැමෝටම දෙනවා. හරි. එහෙමනම් අදට ඇති. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.